Today we're going to talk about the subject called History of Transformation in Higher Education. It's a subject offered in postgraduate diploma in higher education. So we chose the subject, then under the subject we chose the topic relevant to our studies. The relevant topic that we came up with, that we're going to present today, is the decolonization of education in South Africa. To start with, we'd like to explain what is decolonization. Decolonization, according to Rivonia Naidu, says decolonization is the eradication of colonialist epistemologies and social practice in order to centralize Africa's own. So when we look into this decolonization, we're going to also focus on introduction to decolonization of education in South Africa. Then we start by quoting former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, when he said, "Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world." Schools and universities are supposed to provide students with the necessary tools with which to survive the fourth industrial revolution. Technology has advanced exponentially since the turn of the century, and calls have since been made for the abolition of socio-economic class hierarchy, which can be linked to the decolonization of curriculum in the culture of institutions, as well as affordable access to quality education for all, regardless of race. The decolonization of school and university involves people who were previously marginalized under apartheid, choosing to embrace and recognize their own culture, tell their own history, study from books written by Africans, and run institutions based on values that are reflective of African culture, as opposed to Eurocentric models. Institutions like schools and universities represent microcosm of society, and thus the decolonization of such institutions will begin the process of much broader transformation that decolonizes of education in South Africa. So now we're gonna speak about the challenges of decolonizing education in South Africa. We have many challenges, but for our subject or for our discussion, we're only going to focus on 3 challenges of decolonization and go into details of those 5 challenges. Try to explain each and every challenge. The first challenge of decolonization of education is no knowledge of decolonization. After 26 years of democracy in South Africa, our schools and universities tend to offer a view of the country that is rooted in colonial and apartheid thinking. The curriculum in universities remain largely westernized, more of white Europe view of what should be included into our curriculum. Lagrange 2016. The second challenge is reluctant to change the curriculum. The decolonization projects need to encompass more than just changing the curriculum. How things are taught and lectures, attitude to his process matters just as much. While adding literature from the African content and global South Africa is important in decolonization discussion, it is by far not enough. The attitude of university staff toward the content used in curriculum is critical. So that takes us to our third challenge, which is no connection with realities of students. University needs flexible and agentic lecture or staff who are connected to the realities of students, and colonizing approach is lacking in locating alternative voices to inform the university curriculum. Hobart 2016. Within our schools and universities, decolonize of curriculum calls for the dismantling of Eurocentric epistemologies that continue to dominate. Zelesa 2016, and the reawakening of indigenous knowledge. Our fourth challenge is problem with wide perspective. Decolonization is not merely a matter of political independence. To claim that colonial thinking stops having an impact on decolonized countries and its citizens is to misunderstand how deeply colonial thought affected colonized countries and their citizens.